You can be in a room full of teachers and still feel completely alone. Not because they're unkind, not because they don't care, but because you're the only one teaching what you teach. And that changes everything. If you're a multi-prep teacher, especially if you teach CTE, electives, or any subject where you're the singleton in your building or your district, this episode is for you. Because today, I want to name something that doesn't get talked about enough: the loneliness of being the only one. Welcome to the Secondary Teacher Podcast, the podcast for middle and high school teachers juggling multiple preps to get the strategies to reduce overwhelm so that you don't have to choose between being an effective teacher and prioritizing important relationships. I'm your host, Khristen Massic, a 10-year high school engineering teacher, former middle school assistant principal, and teacher coach. Every week, we will discuss strategies, systems, and time-saving tips to help you not only survive but thrive as a multiple prep teacher. I can't tell you how many faculty meetings I sat through where I felt invisible. Not because I was ignored, but because everything being discussed, classroom management strategies, curriculum pacing, assessment design, was built for core content teachers. Teachers with rows of desks, teachers with students facing forward, teachers teaching the same subject as 3 other people down the hall. And I'm sitting there thinking, this doesn't apply to me. None of this applies to me. But I stayed quiet because what was I going to say? Hey, this doesn't work for my lab-based classroom. Hey, I don't have anyone to collaborate with on pacing because I'm the only one teaching this. So I sat there and I felt alone. And then it got worse. There was this one meeting, a district-wide meeting with all of the CTE teachers. So the majority of us, if not all of us, were teaching multiple preps. And they brought someone in from the district to talk about DeFore's professional learning communities, PLCs. The whole idea was that we were supposed to be collaborating regularly, meeting with our teams, sharing data, making small adjustments to our teaching based on what was working and what wasn't. And it sounded great in theory. But as she's explaining this, I'm sitting there thinking, how is this even going to be possible? Because PLCs assume you have colleagues teaching the same thing you're teaching. They assume you can meet regularly, compare notes, look at student work together, and make tweaks in real time. But I didn't have that. Most of us didn't. I might be the only one in my building teaching what I teach, or the only one in my district. So who was I supposed to collaborate with? And I remember even thinking then, how is this going to work? Fast forward a semester or two, I'm in an administrator's education class for my master's degree to go into administration. And we dive deep into DeFore's PLC program, how it works, why it works, the research behind it. And I actually really liked the ideas. I could see why it was powerful. I could see how it would transform teaching if you had the right structure in place. But I kept coming back to the same thought. That's great and all, but we don't collaborate because we might be the only one in our building or our district that even teaches the same thing. This idea of meeting regularly with one another, sharing data, making small tweaks in the moment, I was like, I don't even know how this is going to work. I don't even know if this is going to work. And that's when it hit me. It wasn't that I didn't want to collaborate, it's that the system wasn't built for teachers like me. So here's what I want you to hear. If you've ever felt isolated as a multi-prep teacher, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the system is built for core content teachers. Professional development, designed for English and math teachers. Collaboration models, assume you have a team of people teaching the same subject. Curriculum resources, built for the big subjects with big budgets. And if you're teaching CTE, electives, or any subject where you're the singleton, you're an afterthought. Not because people don't care, but because the infrastructure wasn't designed with you in mind. And that's exhausting because it means you're constantly translating everything to fit your reality. Okay, they're talking about PLCs. How would that work for me? Okay, they're sharing pacing guides, but I don't have anyone to pace with. Okay, they're talking about collaboration, but who am I supposed to collaborate with? And after a while, that translation work becomes invisible labor, and invisible labor is lonely. If you're feeling this right now, I want to give you permission for a few things. Permission to name it. You're not imagining this. The loneliness is real, and it's okay to say it out loud. Permission to stop trying to fit into systems that weren't built for you. You don't have to force yourself into a PLC structure that doesn't make sense for your reality. You don't have to feel guilty for not collaborating the way core content teachers do. Permission to build your own support. If the system isn't giving you what you need, you're allowed to find it elsewhere. Online communities, other multi-prep teachers in other districts, people who get it. Permission to feel both isolated and okay. You can be structurally alone and still be a great teacher. Those two things can coexist. Here's the thing I wish someone had told me earlier. There's a whole community of singleton teachers out there. Teachers who are the only ones in their building teaching what they teach. And while that doesn't fix the structural problem, it does mean you're not alone and feeling alone. There are other multi-prep teachers who sit in faculty meetings feeling invisible. There are other CTE teachers who hear about PLCs and think, how? There are other elective teachers who are carrying the weight of being the only expert in their building. And finding those people, even if it's online, even if it's across districts, can make a huge difference because they get it. They don't need you to translate. They just know. I'm not going to pretend I have a perfect solution for this because I don't. But here are a few things that helped me feel less alone. 1, I stopped expecting my building to give me what it couldn't. I stopped waiting for a PLC structure that made sense for me. I stopped hoping faculty meetings would suddenly apply to my reality. I accepted that the system wasn't built for me, and that freed me to find support elsewhere. 2, I found my people online. I connected with other multi-prep teachers, other CTE teachers, other people who were teaching multiple subjects and juggling the same chaos I was. And even though we weren't in the same building, those connections mattered. 3, I gave myself permission to do things differently. I stopped trying to collaborate the way everyone else did. I stopped trying to fit into systems that didn't fit me. And I built my own systems, my own routines, my own way of teaching that worked for my reality. And that's not isolation, that's adaptation. If you're a multi-prep teacher who feels invisible in your building, I want you to know you're not imagining it. The system wasn't built for you. But that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're navigating something that's genuinely harder. And the fact that you're still showing up, that matters. You're not alone in being alone. There's a whole community of singleton teachers out there who get it. And if you need to hear it today, you're seen, you're valued, and you're doing an incredible job with a job that's incredibly hard. If today's episode was helpful to you, it could be for others. So make sure you share it with your colleagues, especially the ones who are the only ones teaching what they teach. Tag me on Instagram at Khristen Massic, KHRSTEN MASSIC. Until next week, take care of yourself. You're not alone.